Thanks for being here with Dianne Andrews in Black and White out in the community of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As you know, the people who keep up with Dianne Andrews in Black and White, we are taped here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but usually in a studio. But I'm out in the community because of this very serious situation in Baton Rouge and around the country. Violence does not beget violence. Alton Sterling, a man who was here at Triple S convenience store owned by Abdullah Muflahi, was shot down and killed by two Baton Rouge police officers. Now, I'm not saying who was right or wrong, but I'm just saying what happened in this situation. Because as of almost a week later, we still don't know what the police and what our Justice Department is going to do about this situation. But we do need to give them time to come up with what they think is an appropriate answer to this, and hopefully it is the answer that we in Baton Rouge and the country are looking for. Mr. Abdullah has been in this community for 6 years, and he is a Muslim. As you know, I do shows on ISIS. That's kind of my pet peeve. I've done the Nation of Islam, and I've done Shia and Sunni Muslims in my studio. But he has had no problems in this community for 6 years. Is that correct?
That's correct. I've been here for 6 years. They welcomed me into the neighborhood. They welcomed me and considered me a part of the community.
And you consider yourself a part of this community, right?
Of course.
Now, and people come in, I was in the store, I see they know you, they greet you, you greet them, and you know their children's names?
Yes, of course. And I know the youngest. I know like who the father would be, who the mom, who the grandparents. They all come and shop, and they all come. They're always friendly. Everybody's friendly. Everybody interacts with one another. Everybody knows one another.
And this is in the neighborhood, as we would call, some people would call, in the hood. And everything is safe here. You've been here 6 years. You're open 24 hours. Never a robbery here in this community.
Not at all. No robberies, no problems, no fights, no shootings. It's been very peaceful. Even with the protesting going on, it's been very peaceful. No
one tried to loot your store. No one in this community tried to steal anything. And getting to that, let's talk about the man who was gunned down in this community, in front of your store, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Alton Sterling, how well did you know him?
I've known him ever since I came down from Detroit. He was selling CDs at another store that I had started working at, and that's when we met and became friends.
I apologize, but as you know, you can hear the horns blinking because we do have quite a crowd out here still trying to see what our government is going to come up with as the answer to this situation. And all we want here in Baton Rouge, as they do in Minnesota, as they do in Dallas, Texas, with Michael Johnson, who was killed by a black gunman, who was also wrong. Violence does not beget violence. So tell me, do you feel comfortable telling me what you saw happening that day?
Walked out the store. I seen, well, I was inside the store when I seen the cops pull up to the parking lot.
I had heard that someone called the police that he was banishing, is the word they used, a gun.
That's what I also heard, but from me being here that night, I didn't hear him get into an argument with anybody. Nor
have you ever seen him carry a gun and visibly open in the public, harming anyone?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. He only started carrying a gun for his protection because he had his friends that also sell CDs in different locations had gotten robbed the past couple of days, and he thought he might need something to protect himself.
And you knew he carried this gun because he told you that he carried it, and it was no problem.
It was no problem. It was no problem because I've never had a problem with him. I've never had any kind of problems with him having like him and somebody else, any other customers. He was well known out here. Everybody knew him. He was a very friendly person to the customers. He never gave me a problem to where I needed to have him, removed off the property or anything.
Because you had to give him permission to sell in front of your store, and you did. Now, that day when the police showed up, did they park right here in the parking lot?
Yes, they parked in the parking lot. There was also 3 cars that were in front of them. But at the time I got outside to see what was going on, he was already being slammed on top of a car, and then they tasered him and tackled him onto another vehicle, and that's when they pinned him on the floor.
Now, as we know, Dianne Andrews in Black and White always says black, white, and blue lives matter. All lives matter in this community, but a black person can be wrong, and so can a policeman be wrong. So that doesn't sound right, and I'm not trying to make a decision here, but let's just see what the Justice Department comes up with out of this situation from what we viewed on the video and what you just told us. Is there anything else you would like to add to this situation? Did they try to get him help after they saw him, or did they take his pulse to see if he was dead?
Not at all. They didn't touch him or go anywhere near him after they had shot him.
He just laid there.
He just laid there.
He could have been living, for all we knew.
I mean, they didn't do anything to try to help him.
You know, even when you look at the case in Minnesota, when Mr. Castile had been shot in the arm in Minnesota inside his car with a 4-year-old little girl in the back of the car and his fiancée girlfriend at the side of the car, he was still moving, and no one did we see attempt to get help. I have had interviews with our chief of police here twice on my series Black, White, and Blue Lives Matter. The mayor has been on my show, Kip Holden, Dabbity's been on my show, the DA has been on my show, and I've asked, why do policemen shoot so many times? And they are trained to shoot to kill. And my question is, why can't you shoot to stop? I know this is what they're trained to do, is to shoot to kill, but I'd like to see them trained to shoot to stop. My perspective and other people's perspective, and also let's get people help. If he had just shot at you, why can't we call an ambulance to try to help these people? So this is Dianne Andrews in front of Triple S Convenience Store on North Foster in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the site of a horrific incident last week. Thank you very much for being here with me, Abdullah. Thank you.